Hey there, and yeah, so welcome to, I might say, a new video, and I guess a while since NF120. And today is the time where I'm going to share some of my in-depth analysis on what we're going to expect from some of my personal favorites from this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And in this case, we're going to take a look at the at both semifinals. So in today's video, I'm gonna share what would be my potential non-qualifiers and my potential qualifiers to the final. The big four and Austria is excluded, of course, but I'm gonna share my own analysis on whether those 15 countries, both on each semifinal, would either of them would qualify or not. But I'm gonna share what I have to say on these two sides because some people are doing that right now, and I have to share my own thoughts as well. So this is going to be interesting since it's about time to get to know a little more about some of the acts. So yeah, with that mattered, today is the time where I have to share what will be my potential qualifiers before the rehearsals this May. So my qualifiers from each semifinal that will go to the final on May 16th. Get it? So with that mattered, let's start with the first semifinal because you know what I mean. I'm gonna share what will be my top 10, and then I'm gonna share what would be my uh, least 15, bottom 15, bottom five. Sorry, what will be my bottom five? That these are the non-qualifiers for me. So let's get started with what would be my qualifiers for the first semifinal. Now, of course, it will be from first to 10th, of course, and descending order. So first up, it would be my possible favorites. Of course, it would be a lot of things to note, and I'm gonna separate them into various categories. Of course, all of them were some of my favorites as well. So you know what I mean. But four countries that have a likely chance to get through the final, of course, and a great way possible are Finland, Sweden, Greece, and controversially, Israel. Now, first of all, Lake and Hayden is really great. Their UMK performance is really impressive, and they said that they will keep it at the Eurovision stage. So hopefully this would work, at least for the most part, but let's see about that. And because of it's because of the nature of its popularity over on YouTube and how the fans and even everyone loved it, I think this thing would get a sweep in the first semifinal. Sweden as well, because of how impressive the staging is and everything else. And at least we're going to see four stages from Melody Festival and to pack with Felicia to Vienna, of course, which is interesting. But we'll see about that. And also, Ferto, it will have a revamped staging as well. But everyone still loved the song as well, so you know what I mean. And also for Israel, you get the point. I think it would get the unbiased situation, of course, but any political development with this should not be involved, hopefully, but I don't know. Let's hope that we don't have another, situation to Israel like last year, where Israel deliberately finished second, which was a close result though, but thankfully JJ won, so you know what I mean. On to numbers 5 to 7 are basically my possible ones, probably ones, of course, and those three are Montenegro with Tamas Sivkovic, Croatia with Lalak, and Moldova with Satoshi. Now, Tamas Sivkovic, despite the fact that her performance is alright in the Monta song part, her revamp of Nova Zora helped it. But, of course, the staging would be a little bit more improved over from the Monta song one. So, hopefully, there's that. Also, Lalak, already, I really love their voices, and even so that I really love how impressive they are. So, and especially how they perform in Dora helped that. So hopefully this continues and this would eventually go to the final, of course. And thanks to Serbia, of course, and their neighbors, of course, it would have a likely chance to get to the final. So let's see about that. And Satoshi, well, welcome back to the Eurovision Song Contest after a year. Well, Moldova has a lot of potential, and this song being too proud, needless to say, it would help out. Also, the revamp is alright though, especially for the fact that they even kept Aliona Moon's vocals at one point, which is nice. And let's hope that the final performance would do very great, hopefully, if there's that. And of course, the last three that made it through my potential qualifiers are Lithuania, and presumably Serbia and Portugal. It is undecided, but I think Portugal might be the most shocking one because so Lion Sika having will have a very interesting yet very weird staging on the Eurovision stage. Of course, it will have a much more improved staging than in the Eurovision LT performance, and all of them would be powered by whatever this thing is, electrolyte. Metals of some sort, so which would eventually collapse when the final chorus hits. But yeah, his performance would get a little more crazier from here. Also, the reason why I put Lavina and the potential qualifiers because, well, to be honest, the screams led me to do this. Yes, the screams. This is such a god song that I don't have any words for that, but still it was impressive though. And thanks to Croatia and Montenegro, their neighbors, I think this would help as well. So I think Serbia might get a fair point, but I don't know. But that depends, especially on how impressive the song is. Also, their staging would get a little more improved at the Eurovision side, from what I can remember. And Bandito Sucant, well, probably. I don't know what's going on with them because I don't think so. What we'll do with the performance, but we'll see about that because I don't know what to do with that country, even though that they made it through the final last year, and such a beautiful song like Rosa, which was loved by many Portugueses, has to say that this song might have a probable shot to go to the final, even though that the song, even though that Portugal can vote their own country. I don't think so. That would make sense since you know what I mean. But we don't know what's going on with Portugal, and because the juries came back, I think we might know if Portugal would make it through. So we don't know yet. That's my potential qualifiers, and now let's take a look at my bottom five. These were Georgia, Belgium, Poland, San Marino, and Estonia. Unfortunately for them, uh, now Biskevi's performance would be I don't know. They haven't disclosed on what we're going to do with the performance yet. But for the meantime, I'm going to put them in the potential not qualifiers. So for the meantime, Isila as well would get a little more interesting because her performance would likely be a little more similar to the music video. But hopefully they'll start because they're now making some progress on what to do with her performance. But we don't know what's going on. Alicia, meh. Her song is decent, but still is good. But I don't think so. What we'll do with her performance at the Eurovision Song Contest, since the song is pretty much less than I expected. So I think this would result in another non-qualification after a while. So we don't know yet. And Sen Hit, come on, yeah, of course, she came back to Eurovision after 5 years, and needless to say, I had enough. Many people have enough of her, at least. But yeah, and also bringing Boy George. I don't. What's going on? Bringing an international star that already has a couple of criminal records. At Eurovision would be a little more problematic, though. Also, her performance would get a little more dazzling too, as well. And as of this point, Senhit and Boy George are currently talking about what to do with their Eurovision performance in Las Vegas. So you know what I mean. But I don't think so. If that would have a major impact on them. And yes, Vanilla Ninja, basically as it is, too epic to qualify, which is too much. And especially their huge fan base would have a lot. So unfortunately for them, we don't want to see them in the final, if that's the case for me. So that's my what I have to say for the first semi-final. So in order, of course, Finland, Sweden, Greece, Israel, Montenegro, Croatia, Moldova, Lithuania, Serbia, Portugal are my potential qualifiers, while Georgia, Belgium, Poland, San Marino, and Estonia are my potential non-qualifiers. Now on to the second semi. So let's get started from top to bottom again. First things first is of course, the ones that would eventually get through the final. Of course, my four that would eventually make it through, of course, probably, and the most possible ones, were Denmark, Australia, Romania, and Ukraine. Denmark, of course, his performance is so amazing, and that's where he Grand Prix, and he's about to make some changes. And of course, the revamp, of course, he just removed the F word. But still, the song is really great. I think this would deserve another shot at winning Eurovision. Eclipse is also impressive, but we'll see what will be the staging, so let's hope for that. And Romania, well, needless to say that they're back on it, so hopefully there is a lot of things to look forward to. Alexandra Capitanescu and her song as well, which would have some of the aspects of her performance to be improved as well. And Ukraine, of course, still qualifying, having their qualification streak in a while. Let's hope for that. The song is beautiful and it's peaceful as well. And last we have my presumably my two contenders to get through it. Of course. These were Dava and Antigone from both Bulgaria and Cyprus. Dava, of course, is basically such a banger, and I really love it. But you know what I mean. And Jana as well is such a banger that I just wanted to put it there. We'll see what it will be the performance and the grand final as well, which is, of course, and four songs would also get through the final as well. In my own context, of course, those four would be Czechia, probably, Albania, Malta, probably, and Latvia. The reason why, because juries officially returned to the semis, of course. Crossroads is such a beautiful song, and even though it was impressive on one hand, I don't think what would be the performance look like, but let's hope that this would help. Ali's song is such a message to his mom, which is impressive. And we'll see what would be his performance would look like in the Eurovision side of things. But it's also beautiful as well, so you know what I mean. And so did Anna, which is a clear, beautiful song for such an effort. And such a great ballad that even it eventually won Supernova for that reason. So that's my potential qualifiers for the second semi-final, which is quick and expected, which is very easy. And now you know what I mean for the potential non-qualifiers, of course. Unfortunately, Luxembourg will have their first qualification in the country's history in the Eurovision Song Contest. Yes, it's despite the fact that Modern Nature is impressive, I don't think if what would be impressive to get through the final. I don't know, but the song is meh. Yeah, it's also impressive, but I don't think so it would qualify because such a song is such a weird one, but that was unfortunate. So Norway, no thank you. Armenia is also probable, but I don't know. But so right now, what they do with the performance is such a weird moment, but we will find out eventually. But I don't think so if that would swap out one of the potential qualifiers once we get to the rehearsals. Alice and Just Go, Just Go. Alice is by Veronica Fosabo is alright, especially with the tone. It is okay, but it's too much. It's not too competitive that way because an experimental alternative rock some sort song is alright, but such a tone would not be fitting for Eurovision type of staging. So I think we would have a non-qualification from Switzerland in a while. And you know what I mean for Juva, she should continue Azerbaijan's non-qualification streak, which started since 2023, and you know what I mean. The song is pretty decent, but I don't think so. What would perform in the semifinals thanks to the juries. So now let's take a look again at my potential qualifiers and my potential non-qualifiers. From top to bottom: Denmark, Australia, Romania, Ukraine, Bulgaria, Cyprus, Czechia, Albania, Malta, Latvia. My top 10, and the bottom 5 were Luxembourg, Norway, Armenia, Switzerland, and Azerbaijan. And what about the big 4 and Austria? Well, I already have some thoughts, but I don't think so. What would perform in the final? But that will depend on what I have to say in my top 25, which would come out by May. So we'll find out eventually. But for the meantime, let's just get out of those stuff. So that's my predictions for what would be my qualifiers and non-qualifiers from each semi-final from in the Eurovision Song Contest before the rehearsals. This would all change once we see all the rehearsals by May, and of course we know we're gonna get through it. So I'll get back to it once we get through the rehearsal. So with that, we're gonna set that aside as we get through some future videos coming to this channel as well. Maybe this week as well, I'm gonna also share my potential winners for the Eurovision Song Contest before the rehearsals. I'm gonna share what would be my potential winners. I have a couple of 7, or I think 7 to 8, because I have one country that would be too much. We'll get to it in next couple of days, and also more analysis on what would look like on the Eurovision side of things. I will have some more in-depth analysis on what would be, of course, and I have to share some more rankings on some other stuff, including a little bit more, which I already started with Tamara Sikovich's cover of Euphoria, which you can check it out by clicking the post tab on this channel, of course. And yeah, there's a couple of things to look forward to. So with that mattered, that's it for today's video here on ESC-DN. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell, and check out my socials at my link tree. Again, my name is Duncan Nichols. Thank you for watching. And of course, we'll always be united by music. We'll see you on my potential winners before the rehearsals video whenever I feel like it.